little behind the ball, but that's all right. We're here. Double dose of gratitude today. I like the two. First one just kind of came in out of order. But anyway, day 28 was just continuing to learn how to cook. There's so much to learn with that art form and that skill. But I think the better you get at it, the more you dive into it. One, it's like you start to see everything in your pantry, your fridge, and there's really just this opportunity for there's always tasty stuff to eat. And it's also fun because you get a lot more comfortable with just like trial and error, which I like. But then there's just the true upside of, yesterday was Valentine's Day and talked about going out to a restaurant. We just made a really awesome meal at home. So it was just super fun. And Cassandra was so grateful for it. And that was just special. It was just really, really cool. And I think something that I really like to be able to do is like you learn how to use everything available, just like little things. And, like we did like a roasted carrot, and instead of buying basil for pesto, you use the carrot tops for it. And you just learn little things like that, how to use the whole plant, the whole animal. For some reason, I really enjoy that. Waste not, want not, as they say. Anyway, it's just an absolute pleasure. I'm just grateful for it. And a lot. It's a big part of my life. It's probably come up before. So the other one was just the mess of life. On particularly, so we've had cold weather, warm weather, cold weather, warm weather here, and it get really like muddy. It's a lot of like clay soil here in parts of Colorado, and it just makes a massive mess. But also sometimes that mess is a little bit of fun if you're just patient with it and accept it and build it into your routine. And I'm grateful for the mess of life because it helps me work on patience. And that is something I feel like I need a lot because I like that everything happens now. And even when I'm doing one thing, I'm thinking about another thing. And the mess of life slows me down plenty to just be present in the moment, which is something I'm always need more of and grateful for. Recapping some other stuff. Did a little workout yesterday in the gym, which was really cool. It was the little Friday morning workout, which was every 2 minutes for 10 rounds. You do 10 box jumps and then 3 hang squat cleans and increase weight across the squat cleans. That was a good workout because I was just continuously reminded how I need to always squat more. It was a good group in class, and then got to spend some time getting coffee with a friend, which is one of my favorite parts of the week. Just again, chatting. It's an opportunity, just a space for me to be present. So, like I said, I need more practice for that. And then I was just thinking about some other things. I was, thinking about sometimes when things aren't going well, and you look at the people involved. I was just wondering what is the default to not give everyone around you the benefit of the doubt. What is the default to lean into this idea of, well, they must be screwing it up, or they must have some nefarious intention, or they must not be as confident as me. And it's sort of like it's like a reflex. It's a knee-jerk reaction. So I was spending time thinking about, why that is. And at some point, I do feel it's like a little bit of a trend that I see. And here's the other thing. Everything on the internet is fake. And I really do miss when it was just like, the internet was just like, the Funny or Die website. For those of you that don't know, you missed out. It was just like the internet was truly just a repository for just goofy shit. Like, obviously this is fake, and obviously this is supposed to be absurd. I've missed those days so much. Just like pure silliness and dumbness. Always the corners of internets with the chat rooms that are just absolutely horrid, but whatever. That's humans. That's not the internet. And now it seems like there is this, I don't even think it's a conscious, attempt. I think there is, I think it just kind of happens by use of the mechanism. But I just feel like everybody on the internet is trying to make something that is obviously fake and make it as like real or acceptable as possible. we're gullible people and we want to believe that a thing is and things are the way people tell us they are. But I just think it's so funny. Like, you just see stuff on the internet, little tidbits and snippets. And the reason I think about this a lot is because I think you can go through life in a couple different ways. And obviously, always looking to external validation from others, or external validation and validation from others, can be really, really dangerous. And even I think doing that often is really, really dangerous. Also, you have these little like pithy sayings like, what do they say? Comparison is the thief of joy. And so I look at a vehicle like the internet and the Instagram, or just even like other people's opinions, and it's easy to fall into those traps. And there's a lot of downside to doing that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of push out there that anytime we have some sort of decision or thought process that might seem negative or exclusionary, it's like, well, that can't be right. So for example, right now I'm talking about this idea that when things aren't going well, you maybe jump to pointing the finger at others. Obviously, that is a habit. That's a thought process that can be risky. There are risks to it. And at the same time, if you're interacting with somebody a ton and they keep saying one thing and doing another thing, well, then there is this moment of pointing the finger. And I was trying to say like, oh, okay, so I can't, it's kind of I'm the fool here if I keep going back to this person for this expectation that multiple times that they've run amok of or done something totally different. They said they were going to be on time, and 10 times in a row they're not on time. I think they said they were going to support this project, and multiple times this project went unsupported. At some point, there's a couple of things there. One, I think it goes back on you to be like, okay, I got to go somewhere different. But also, I think you have to listen to this internal voice of that is sort of a little bit judgmental, a little negative, that says like, here's the real deal with this scenario. You are putting yourself in position to depend on this person. You've had X amount of times where they have been undependable. You got to move yourself out of the situation. And so as I was thinking about this, like, what do we do with these thoughts that sometimes people look at as judgmental or negative? And I keep coming back to this concept of when you have those thoughts, what is the thought compelling you to do? Is the thought compelling you to control yourself? Or is the thought compelling you to control somebody else? I think even in times when things are going well and you're happy and you think, well, what does this thought, this feeling make me want to do? Does this thought or feeling make me want to control myself? Or does it make me want to control somebody else? Or am I trying to control somebody else with it? And for me, when I think about a good quality of life, and I think about finding peace in myself, and I think about navigating both highs and lows effectively, it continuously, as I've gone through some of these podcasts and thought about this, it continuously comes back to this idea of I can't control other people. It's not my job to control other people. You have to give other people the dignity of being themselves, even if they're shitheads. Maybe you don't interact with them a lot. Similarly, because you want that kind of dignity. So whether it's I'm looking at somebody and evaluating them in a positive light, I'm looking at somebody and evaluating them in a negative light, I'm being judgmental, it should always, for me, I believe it should always come back to, I can't stand the word should. I believe it's best for it to always come back to, well, given this information or given this thought or given this feeling or given this evaluation I have of somebody else, I still need to control myself. What does that mean I'm going to do for me? Like I said, if somebody, this person who keeps telling me they're going to support a project, they're going to show up on time and they don't, and I keep going back to them for that and trying to like manipulate them or coax them into doing something, and they keep, not meeting up to my expectation, I need to do something differently myself. So that's what I was thinking about a lot with this, because, I talk to people a lot and they're like, when things are not going well, it's often like, well, it must be because of someone else's X, Y, and Z. And that actually, here's the deal. That actually might be the case. It might be somebody else that is causing this bigger problem. But the point is, you can't change their behavior. You can't change them. What I can do is I can change how I interact with this situation. Okay, well, given their behavior, given their lack of competence, given their crappy attitude, What can I do differently? Because I can't change any of that stuff. And that is such a hard that is a hard pill to swallow, because it does feel so good. It feels so good to sit there and say, well, so-and-so is just a big turd bag. Blah, 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 and just commiserate and vent. And I think some of that is absolutely necessary. Venting is like the intellectual equivalent of farting, right? Better out than in. Sometimes you need to do it. But also, if you're doing it all the time, nobody wants to be around you. And also, if you're doing it all the time, both venting and farting, you're probably consuming some things that are not very good for you, right? Like if I'm always complaining and I'm always venting, I am probably putting myself in a position, or I have expectations and a view of the world that might be better if I adjusted a little bit, right? The consumption of how I'm taking things in, it's not healthy for you. So I think that's a important one. It's emotional equivalent, intellectual equivalent of breaking wind. There you go. That was an unexpected analogy, and probably should end it there. So more tomorrow, closing in on our 31 days of gratitude. We got 2 days to go. Thinking of an idea of something else where we go next, but we'll see. So get that gratitude down, write it down, shout it out to the world, and talk to you soon.